Hypnosis and religion. Most religions consider lies immoral and truths moral. A person whose character is founded upon lies, then, would be considered moral if he could readjust and accept the truth. This is exactly what behavior modification is all about. We are all born with a conscious mind capable of reasoning and discernment. The mind is limited in its capacity to attend to more than one or two things at once. So we have a subconscious mind that stores concepts and ideas until they're needed by the conscious mind. This system worked well for primitive man, whose needs and relationships were relatively simple. During the child's formative years, he was protected by his parents and the elders of his tribe. He learned to hunt and fish and to follow the established customs of his group. His subconscious mind became the obedient servant of his conscious mind and delivered correct information for his lifestyle as needed. As civilization became more complex, with industrialization and more complicated social structures, so did the child's subconscious programming. Conflicting opinions and abstract ideas confronted him daily. At this point, the programming method needed to be reevaluated and changed, but did not. A young child accepts and internalizes ideas in much the same way as a hypnotized subject. The critical factor in a child's mind is undeveloped, while in the hypnotized subject it is temporarily inhibited. So the child's programming in a more complex world becomes less accurate, with many distortions and misconceptions. As an adult, his subconscious is influenced by what he had accepted earlier as truth, and that, in turn, was influenced by material previously accepted, and so on, back to his formative years when he was incapable of discernment. It became a matter of the computer invalidating its own programming with inaccurate data, leaving the adult believing untruths to be true and behaving accordingly. Some readers and listeners may frown upon this conception of the human mind as a computer and brand the whole idea as materialistic, but we are speaking only the material part of the mind. There's no argument between science and religion about our brain. Whatever your religious convictions may be, it allows for the fact of material being on this earth and of a human brain capable of studying it. We are speaking to people of many faiths and respect them all. Your chosen God, or not even having a God, has made you capable of observing facts such as the rain falling, evaporating, and then falling again. This is natural, and so is the working of our bodies. Studying bodily material does not deny the existence of the soul. Since the soul is not material, but rather something spiritual, we leave each faith to its own version of the soul's function and whereabouts. Although it is not impossible that mind may exist somehow and somewhere without body, we cannot make use of it as living human beings without substantial brain matter. And this brain, which allows us to be aware of mind, can be removed piece by piece by removing the tissue that causes it, just as movement can be denied by us removing the limbs or even the tendons, muscles, and nerves that operate them. If a great portion of a man's brain is removed, his reasoning will become no better than that of a frog. An accidental brain injury or a drug overdose can reduce a brilliant man to an imbecile or a moral man to a criminal. In this study of the human mind, we are dealing with something physical, not something spiritual, except as the two forces interact. Faith in your religion can be intensified by hypnosis, and it can help you live a better and more useful life. History has recorded a continuing controversy over whether or not humans have free will. Many great philosophers, including Schopenhauer and Einstein, have maintained that since we are obviously products of our inheritance and our environment, our choices of action in any given situation are determined by our attitudes, desires, and opinions, which are the result of those that preceded them, and those that preceded them, and so on back to childhood, when our attitudes, opinions, and resulting desires were formed. We are obviously products of factors beyond our control. And to many, this seems to deny that we have free will or moral responsibility. But we have the wherewithal to modify these previously learned behavior patterns. By choosing hypnosis, we can eliminate destructive and antisocial ideas and replace them with positive, truthful ones that will enrich our lives, hence our free will. However, it could still be argued that without chance exposure to this or some other explanation of hypnosis, a man would be ignorant of his power to change. Thus, he remains a victim of his past. He will have nothing and having no bearing on his present state. The fact is, though, that man is born with the equipment necessary to change his character, just as he was born with legs to walk on. The fact that he misuses this equipment does not negate the fact that he has it, including the necessary for the exercise of the controversial free will. Even with an understanding of the methods necessary to change for the better and the accompanying free will to do so, many will find the idea of changing their minds aberrant. They resist mind control techniques and take refuge in a variety of ego defense mechanisms such as, I am John Jones and I don't want to be somebody else. The ego protects itself from change and even rationalizes that a future or frustration and unhappiness is preferable to any reprogramming of this wonderful me. John Doe, John Jones. There is also the type who says, I would never mess around with my mind. How often we see such people swallowing their tranquilizer pills or drinking too much alcohol and insisting that they are having a ball. The fallacy in this ego thinking is that your real me doesn't remotely resemble the degenerate bundle of self-destructive habits and negative concepts it has become. You were born with all the requisites of perfect health, both mental and physical, and you can become the authentic representation of yourself by discarding the lies and accepting truth as a foundation for your judgments. You were born right. Misinformation has brought about most of your difficulties. You have free will and can be happy individually and the individual you are meant to be. It's up to you.